This is Morning Talk with Luke. Um, Geek Morning Talk, I guess you would say. Um, RGCWV, Random Geek Culture in West Virginia. And um, I I had a few topics that I wanted to talk about, but one of the big movements yesterday was there was a lot of talk about Star Wars plans going forward. And I kind of want to talk about it. Um, a lot of interesting movements happening lately. I think Disney is striking when the iron's hot um, with the popularity of the Mandalorian. Not necessarily the popularity of the conclusion of the Skywalker trilogy of trilogies. Though to be fair, I mean I liked the movie a lot. Um, I thought that the movie was a great movie. I thought it was rushed, and I don't think anybody would argue with me on that point. That they didn't pay the appropriate respect to some points for a series that's been running so long, 40 years essentially. So, um, yeah, that beside that though. So there's a lot of things that they're planning right now. One most recently, and I don't remember if it's supposed to be a TV show. I think it's supposed to be a TV show or a Disney Plus show. Is Grand Republic or something like that. It's basically a series about the Republic and the Jedi at the height of their influence. Um, and it's supposed to be 200 years before the events of Episode 1. About, I'm not sure the exact number. Um, they are talking about, and I think there's going to be a young Yoda or younger, because I think he'll still be 600 or 700 at that point in time. um, but a younger Yoda, and then I wouldn't be surprised if later on we don't even get a Darth Plagueis, um, because he could possibly be alive at that point in time. I don't know if anybody's really talked about that, but it's totally plausible. That'd be really cool. Um, you know, if maybe young Yoda came across the Darth Plagueis, um, his influences slipped through his fingers. His three fingers. Um, fan fiction. Interesting fact. Fan fiction actually refers to Yoda's species as a tridactyl, um, using Latin and stuff. So I don't know. Another this is the same thing that I always drink. It's coffee, milk, protein shake, all in one shot, all done for the morning. Don't even have to worry about it. Another thing that happened was there was I don't know if there was a leak for the extended novel, but it's a canon better explanation on what happened to the Emperor and Rey. So a lot of people were like, "Hey, what the heck is going on with the Emperor? Why is he back all of a sudden?" So they said that things were achieved with cloning, but we didn't really get a good explanation from that. So we'll start with the beginning of this expose or whatever you want to call it, redefinition. So Darth Vader picks up Palpatine, he throws him in the thing, and he's falling. And then as he's falling, he realizes he's going to die, and he cannot recover. And the Emperor knew that this may happen. That's why he had that whole chamber, that's a whole secret chamber in his throne room. And what they were doing was they were essentially creating clones of him. Now, when I say clones, I don't mean like, oh, he just created a couple copies of himself. Within the Star Wars lore, cloning is fine for a normal person, but for a Force-sensitive user, it is near impossible to create a clone that is also Force-sensitive, or especially even a Force user. So they had created hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clones, and they created one that was near to what he was, but not exactly what he was. But he was a Force user. They could detect that. So Palpatine, what Darth Plagueis had taught him was not just how to manipulate the midi-chlorians, and to create life, but also how to transfer one's essence, transfer one's mind to another body, so one can conceivably live forever. So that is what he did. He transferred his essence to that clone, and it was an imperfect, not perfect, an imperfect clone, an imperfect vessel that could at least contain his essence and his Force powers, but it was a imperfect body. But that's also where they got Snoke, and that's also where they got his son. It's just revealed that his son was actually not like his son, more like in the son as in the effect of Boba Fett and Jango Fett, where Boba Fett was an unaltered clone. Apparently, it was an early off attempt at cloning Palpatine, and that was when they first started to realize that when you clone a Force user, that they have have a very low probability of having Force powers, and that was his clone's problem, was it didn't have any control over the Force, and so as such, he was rejected by his father and became more of a choosing a path of solitude. And so that's who his son is. However, naturally, that clone, got married and, had a wife. And that granddaughter, or that daughter of the clone, was a Force user, Rey. And that's also why Rey was a perfect vessel for Palpatine's essence. It wasn't necessarily that he just wanted to give her the powers of the Sith, but that he wanted to transfer a large piece of himself to her after he was killed. Because apparently that's how it works. You have to die in order to transfer your full essence. So that's an explanation of the story. So I'm glad that we got that. It's a lot better. It's a lot better explanation. Before I go, I figured what I'd do is if I'm talking about a subject and I have a collectible from it, I'd pull it off the shelf and show you guys, and I was going to do that. So, I decided to show off this one. Now, this is probably one of my oldest collectibles. It's there we go. It's Luke Skywalker with the rifle that he was shooting at the banthas and the sand people from episode 4. So I thought that was a cool one. It's an antique, made in 2007. Okay, maybe this isn't my oldest one. uh, but yeah, I guess some other older ones as well. But anyway, a lot of recent movements going on with Star Wars. The head director of Star Wars talking to Kevin Feige, trying to figure out where to go with the series, because Star Wars is not really falling apart, but it definitely some better direction. Add some MCU flair to the series going forward now that the Skywalker saga is over with. So I'm hopeful that that they have some cool stuff going forward. Last bit of a tidbit of information that I want to say, and this is a theory, or this is actually no, this is a hope. This is a geek hope, that they do the Darth Revan series from Knights of the Old Republic under the direction of Christopher Nolan. Wouldn't that be cool? Because it's a darker story. So think of the fusion of the Dark Knight and the Darth Revan series. Wouldn't that be really cool? It would be really cool. It'll probably never happen, but I can hope. I can hope. So anyway, that's the end of this episode. You can click right here. Some of my most popular videos. So you can click right here, and you can subscribe to the channel. You can click down here. You can hit the like if you liked it. You can hit the dislike if you're a jerk. You can comment and put out your Star Wars theories. I know that everybody has one. And you guys have a good morning. Cheers.